Another death sentence has been handed down to an anti-government protester. Some say it's a further attempt to intimidate the opposition just one day before a big national day marking the Islamic Revolution. Ivan Watson is at the Iran desk right now with more on this death sentence. Ivan.
That's right, Hala. The crackdown on the opposition continues inside Iran, with one opposition member being sentenced to death for conspiracy against the government and waging war against God. That announcement coming out late Tuesday night. That defendant joining 9 other people, by our count, who are on Iran's equivalent of death row. And late last month, 2 opposition members were executed by hanging, again for waging war against God. The Iranian government declaring that ahead of this anniversary that is to take place on Thursday, no opposition protests will be tolerated. The opposition movement, of course, is also laying a competing claim to this anniversary of the founding of the Islamic Republic. Hala.
Well, you have key players in all of this. It's an internal struggle in Iran. Tell us more about how the key actors position themselves there in the political landscape in Iran, Ivan.
Let's take a look at the political bloc that has the monopoly on power right now. If we look over here, the Iranian government, it's led by the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Now, during presidential elections last June, he came out firmly in support of President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, whose re-election was disputed by the opposition. They claimed that the government was rigged. Now, they enjoy the support of a powerful military force known as the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, which, of course, controls the Basiji militia. Those are the club-wielding security forces that we've seen repeatedly trying to crush opposition protests out in the streets. Some Iranian experts argue that the Revolutionary Guard Corps is actually pulling the strings here.
Islamic Republic has been transformed from a civilian government to a garrison state, which means that military are in charge of the government. They are behind the scene. They own a significant part of economy and different industries. They are behind all the political institutions. And without Revolutionary Guard, Ayatollah Khamenei, neither Ayatollah Khamenei nor Ahmadinejad have real power.
A big question here, Hala. Where does the clergy in this modern theocracy, where does the clergy fall? And we've had some senior Shiite clerics firmly in support of the supreme leader and Ahmadinejad, some opposing him and some clearly on the fence. And a sign of the division here, we've repeatedly seen clashes between hardliners and opposition members at one mosque in the Iranian city of Shiraz, where a senior Ayatollah has repeatedly been preaching in favor of the opposition. Hala?
All right. We continue to follow this story there of what is happening inside of Iran, how the world is reacting to what is happening there. Our Ivan Watson is at the Iran desk. Now, anti-government protests are planned worldwide to mark Thursday's 31st anniversary of the Islamic Revolution. Errol Barnett is tracking it all from the newsroom at CNN Center and has details. Now, Errol, in the direct aftermath of those elections last June, it was through the internet that we learned so much about what the opposition was planning. What can you tell us about tomorrow?
Well, what's happening now, Hala, is many groups, and it's not one central green movement group, it's a patchwork of organizations around the world, some including expats from Iran, trying to organize events. Let me show you this trendsmap.com site that plots where people are sending tweets from, and you can see the topic of Iran is big in the United States, Central America, Europe, and the Middle East. And when we look at Twitter, we know that tomorrow there are planned demonstrations in the UK, Austria, Sweden, Australia, Canada, Norway, and Germany. This, according to the Iran Solidarity Twitter page. I reached out to this group and the woman behind Iran Solidarity, her name is Patty Debonitas, and I asked her how she believes that demonstrations outside the country will help people inside Iran. Take a listen.
Well, I think first of all it is important that the people in Iran, when they come out to protest, they face a really brutal regime. And it's, I think, very important for them. They're so courageous that they know many people will stand with them, even though they might not physically stand with them side by side. So what we are saying is, we are not forgetting the people in Iran. We are standing very close with them. And we're saying to our governments, you must act really, truly on behalf of the Iranian people.
So from outside the country, they are encouraging, supporting, and really hoping to fuel the green movement inside the country. Hala?
And what about, I mean, inside the country? Is it still possible for demonstrators, for people who oppose the government, to get around blocks, government blocks?
It's still a major challenge. Let me show you this iReport video we just got into us from a demonstration earlier. It's from a woman who doesn't want to be identified. I'm making it full screen for you here for the fear of being arrested or worse. But she's a member of Students' Committee in Iran, and she tells us that the internet connections there are very slow. Occasionally, she says, the internet connections are cut off completely. So she is able to get some messages out. They do use something called proxy servers to get around government blocks in the country. In fact, if I show you this trends map of Iran, you can see people are able to send tweets out from the country. This is a big topic, number 22, Bakhman. That is the date of Thursday in the Iranian calendar. But they're also using old school techniques, notes, messages passed under door and word of mouth to kind of share and communicate and coordinate the event, Hala. So they are able to get a bit out with new technology, but they're using old school methods as well.
And pro-government sites, I mean, are you able to find any of those, Errol?
They're out there, but they're few and far between. For example, you can find pro-Ahmadinejad sites on Facebook. There's a group here with about 12,000 fans, another one with some 14,000. But the reality is the majority of online efforts are in opposition to the government. However, inside the country, as we've seen, it's very different. The government, they own the media channels, televisions, and newspapers. So inside, the message is to get people out, to demonstrate in support of the government, while outside the country, we're seeing much more opposition. Hala?
All right, covering that angle of the story, our Errol Barnett is at CNN Center. Thanks very much. Our website is covering both the nuclear dispute and tomorrow's expected protests. We'll have a new video and iReports, of course. That's all at cnn.com/Iran.